We go to sports.
Why?
From President George Bush's first pitch, Game 3, after the attacks on 11. To the obviously lack of patriotism at this year's Sugar Bowl.
Kill the monster!
Following the attack of a terrorist in New Orleans. Mighty ESPN keeps striking out.
And this just in, you can go fuck yourself.
I'm Jasper Gonzo, and this. What do you expect from ESPN? They're run by betas who stand around bending over grabbing ankles all day.
Pussy.
But it's what's next. What's up, everyone? Jasper Gonzo. What's next? Your daily dose. Hope you guys are feeling good today on this Monday. Of course, it is a snowy Monday on the East Coast. Anywhere from 4 to 12 inches of snow, depending on where you are. So be safe and stay warm. Oh. Did you notice something happened last week? You might have missed it. You might have missed it, but there was a random act of terrorism in New Orleans. Yeah, I got in a car, went down the street, down Bourbon Street, in the middle of the night, in the wee hours of the morning, and mowed down a bunch of people. Then took out his guns and started shooting people. Over 15 people were ended, and over 35 were injured. But that's not the story. This is a sports story, so segue into that. Remember when we used to have patriotism in this country? I know. Now you have to go way, 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 way back to right after the events of 9/11, where there was patriotism galore. People who couldn't stand each other that 24 hours before were now holding hands and singing Kumbaya. That's when something tragic happens. It brings people together, or we thought. So we're going to look at two different things from ESPN. Of course, ESPN, the beta cucks of the sports networks, who has been bending over and grabbing ankles for many a year now. We go from one event 24 years ago, 23 years ago, to current, and my, how the times have changed. And here we go. This comes out of Outkick. From Bush's first pitch after 9/11 to epic fail at Sugar Bowl, ESPN's collapse came fast. Of course, this written by Clay Travis. October 30th, 2001. Game 3 of the World Series. President George Bush walks from the New York Yankees dugout to the pitcher's mound to throw out the first pitch. The nation's wounds from September 11th, 2001 terror attack were still raw. Bush, striding with purpose and conviction, was followed by cameras as he marched across the field. Later, we would learn that he was wearing a bulletproof vest, but at that point, we didn't know. Yankee Stadium, filled with many New Yorkers who had likely voted against him, roared with approval. Bush took the mound, stared down the catcher, reared back, and threw a strike. Yankee Stadium became undone. Let's watch.
The President of the United States.
Walked out on the field, and I mean, the energy and the crowd and the noise was really, really powerful.
Sold out Yankee Stadium. Sold out.
Been to conventions and rallies and speeches.
I get chills. I just got chills. I just got chills.
And the emotion so strong, and the collective will of the crowd so evident.
Very nice throw, Mr. President. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Wow. That's powerful. That is powerful. It's one of the most iconic sports moments of the 21st century, at a time when all Americans, regardless of race or politics, came together to celebrate the common humanity of sports and the healing power of competition. The message on that night was clear. America was undaunted. We would not be defeated by terrorists. Game of sport, small as they might be in the larger geopolitical stakes, were important makers in American resilience, and players and playing and attending them sent an important message. We will not let the terrorists win. In that generation, since that moment, Bush's pitch has continued to reverberate throughout history. So much so that in the fall of 2015, ESPN made a 30-30 documentary simply entitled First Pitch about the impact of that George W. first pitch for sports fans. I thought about that movie and even went back and watched it. This Saturday morning, I was contemplating how a sports network like ESPN could have failed to cover a national anthem and the moment of silence in New Orleans a day after a Sugar Bowl was postponed in the wake of deadly terrorist attack on Bourbon Street. Even though it was just 9 years ago. It feels like a totally different era ESPN. At a time where Sports Network existed to unite sports fans of all races, sexes, ethnicities, and yes, political beliefs and common love of competition, before the network became infested with identity politics and woke sports destroyed the ESPN brand. How in a space of less than a decade did the ESPN go from making a documentary about the points of a first pitch in the wake of a terror attack to not even acknowledging the moment of silence a day after a terror attack that required the very game it was covering in the city itself to be moved by a day? And in doing so, how much does this decade represent the lost unity and collapse of sports as something that brought us together? It became instead another yet political wedge of divisiveness? If you haven't heard about it, on Thursday afternoon in the Superdome in New Orleans, ESPN failed to cover the national anthem in the moment of silence for terror victims, the incredible USA chants echoing throughout the stadium, and Notre Dame running onto the field led by a player carrying the American flag. Each of these moments was iconic and important, a symbol of the people in that stadium, the players and coaches in the city of New Orleans, rallying as one, letting the terrorists know they will not defeat us. That is the spirit of America is unconquerable.
ESPN had a real opportunity yesterday. They
This is
could have
Clay Travis.
shown that national anthem. They could have shown that United States flag. They could have shown Notre Dame running in Marcus Freeman right alongside the front of that team with a big old American flag. They could have shown that moment of silence, and they could have shown the Superdome coming together and chanting USA, USA, USA in the best possible response to an early morning terror attack on Bourbon Street. They didn't show any of it.
Pathetic.
They blamed timing.
Absolutely pathetic.
They said they lost track of time and they weren't able to show the anthem. They weren't able to show the moment of silence.
course not.
They weren't able to
Of
show
course
the
not.
USA chants, and they
Of
weren't
course
able
not.
to show Notre Dame running onto the field with that American flag.
Of course not.
Iconic moment. I don't buy it. I know how TV works. They control the clock. They are in charge of it. They are the people who put the game on. How did the SEC network manage to show all that? How did they manage to get their clock right when ESPN couldn't? I'll tell
Interesting.
you. Because ESPN employs a lot of people who hate America
Facts.
and hate the American flag
Facts.
and actually want to be divisive, not to bring us together.
Facts.
That's the reality. Now, to be fair, ESPN employs a lot of really good people. But the corporate DEI culture of ESPN, it doesn't allow the meritocracy to win. It doesn't allow all of us, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, to come together and celebrate as one and let terrorists know they're never going to win. And I think it's sad that I have to say this, that Outkick has to write about it. The headline should have been, man, look at this amazing moment as everybody chants USA.
Exactly.
Look at this phenomenal image as Notre Dame runs on the field, led by a player carrying the American flag.
Exactly.
What an incredible response from everybody inside of the Sugar Bowl in that Superdome at that game a day after it had to be rescheduled, letting the terrorists know they're not going to win. They're lying to you. Some of the DEI bureaucrats at ESPN chose not to show you this because they don't love America like you and I love America and like most of the country does. They're using sports to divide us instead of bring us together.
My thoughts. Very well said. Very well said by Clay Travis. In just a matter of, what do you say, 9 years, 10 years, something like that. For those who are heavily into sports, and especially who like watching ESPN, just a few years ago, I think it might have been pre-COVID, that the new president of ESPN came in and said, yeah, you know what? All this political nonsensical garbage that we've been spewing the last few years, yeah, that's going to end. That's going to end. We're getting back to what ESPN does best. Show sports highlights, talk about sports, live, eat, breathe it. That's what we're getting back to. How did that go? How did that go? Well, since the wonderful year of COVID, it's gone back to spewing political nonsensical garbage. Have you watched Stephen A. lately? That's all you hear out of his mouth. Political nonsense, race. Political nonsense, race. Any show. Pick a show. Doesn't matter which show it is. Pick a show on ESPN, and I guarantee you there's not one moment they don't talk about misogyny, patriarchy, racisms, whiteness, you name it. And that's why nobody gives a fuck. That's why ESPN is hemorrhaging subscribers left, right, and center. Because they don't give about you or what you think. They're going to continue to be spewing the nonsensical garbage. Every day is a dumpster fire at ESPN. But it's no surprise. What do you expect from a network who's run by beta cucks and they stand around all day long, grabbing their ankles, bending it over, and say, give it to me hard. And without KY. And with that being said, I'm Jasper Gonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please have a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.